So this is the second time. Sorry about last time. We lost all the footage. New air.
Yeah. It's terrible how it happened. You know, he fell down the stairs and just it all went away.
No, that's not what happened. Somebody didn't know how to use the equipment we bought.
Fair enough. I was trying to make it sound better, you know, but it is what it is.
So just for people who don't know this, Chris Heffernan, he owns Heffernan Home Services. I'm going to let him share his story, how he got there, and some sage wisdom. So he's got a lot to offer in terms of lead generation and basically going from $80,000 to $1.5 million in 7 years.
Yep. This is all right now. So, yeah, started this journey, 8 years ago, give or take, and we really I was into MMA and fighting. That was my big main passion, and working so many hours with the job that I had, I decided I wanted to actually just do it myself, so I could have more time to train. And then the business took off, and now I have no more time to train. So it's kind of ironic how that happened, but yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a learning curve for sure, and you know, it's been an uphill battle for sure.
So let's go through year one. You sleeping on your girlfriend's couch when I met you.
Facts.
Didn't have
for
a truck.
Sure. Yeah, no, that was for sure. And honestly, I am blessed that situation happened. I was fortunate enough to be put in a position where, you know, I was living with her. She was going through college. Her parents were paying for her apartment. They let me stay there, and I didn't have any rent. I didn't have any overhead, so I was fortunate enough to be able to afford to kind of just have the abilities to kind of do what I wanted with the business, you know, and put everything that I was earning back into it. But yeah, so I started that up. I was living with her in an apartment, moved to another apartment, ran the business out of there for, I think, around 3 years. That was fun. It was a second story. We had to carry our power washers up every day, you know, and store them on my balcony. You know, sometimes we'd get them down with ladders, and sometimes we'd carry them through the house, you know, so it was a journey there. How much you clear your first year? The first year was right around 80,000. You know, second year was 120, and then we went to just over 240. Right around 500 next year. About 800 next year. 1.2 year after that. Last year was 1.5. We're on pace to do right around 2 million this year. So we've got massive 800,000 of that is actually in Christmas lights. So that's coming up. So I'm really just enjoying my time until the shit show happens, because every year it's complete madness.
Yeah. So let's talk about your first year. How did you get into owning your own business and then eventually start getting your first customers?
Well, I started doing some boots on the ground sales for a window cleaning company that I worked for. That was the job that I did have. Just door knocking. It's pretty much what we did, you know. Door knocked with him. We'd have these little contests on the weekends where we'd try to go out and see who could get the most leads, who could get the most close work. Just became a thing where it was pretty competitive, you know, and this is the owner of this business. I was going out and pretty, you know, neck and neck with him as far as getting the leads and then returning the sales and closing the jobs and then going out and doing the jobs myself. Got to a point where I said, you know, I can actually just do this on my own. And I started out with very, very little money, you know, broke, and a two-door car. I had no truck right off the bat. I got a ladder, a little 24-foot ladder and a 4-foot ladder, and I had some window equipment that I had acquired over working for the old company, and that was all I had, you know. So it went probably a month to 2 months in, you know, where I'm just out door knocking on these massive jobs, getting a few of them booked, and then taking that money, and then eventually got enough money, you know, saved up to buy a truck for my grandpa, which I got a good deal on. I got it for $1,500. It was probably blue booked at like 4 or 5, so I got a pretty decent deal on it. Went from there, and then I got into Home Advisor, which was a lead performance. It was a lead generating, pay as you go, you know, type of marketing. They give you one lead. They also give that same lead to 2 to 3 other contractors, and from there it's a rat race. So if you don't get that job, you still have to pay for that lead. You know, so I got real good at that. I got real good on their app where it was an instantaneous thing. As soon as these leads came through, I knew I had to capitalize quick. It was 30 seconds to a minute in. I had to call them. right off the bat, I actually didn't even call them. I just would show up to their houses, and that was doing good until a lady got pretty pissed off about that. You know, she would prefer a call, so I started calling. But you know, I was hungry, and I knew that I was getting these leads, and I didn't have a lot of money, so it was do or die. It wasn't like I could afford to have like 5 of these $20 leads just shit the bed. You know, that's $100, and at that time, that was a lot of freaking money. So I was really, really needing these, and then, you know, I started getting luck with them. I started booking probably 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 of them, which would be a customer acquisition cost of right around like $80. And just got a lot of success. So 60 grand of my first 80,000 that year was due to all Home Advisor. You know, that was the other 20 was either a combination of referrals and door knocking and flyers, a couple other things, but Home Advisor was the main thing.
How much do you think you spent on Home Advisor that year?
Home Advisor, it was right around probably 10% of that, so right around 8 grand, I'd say. You know, I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know. I know my marketing numbers overall are right between 10 and 15%. First year was right around 10. I got aggressive with it. So, you know, starting up companies, you want to have a little bit more of your budget put in. You got to pay to play, as they say. You know, so 15% for a home service business as a marketing budget is a pretty solid budget. That's going to get you a lot of aggression. That's going to get you a lot of troubleshooting too, you know. It started with Home Advisor, but then started going into Thumbtack, started going into Google Ads, SEO, website, a lot of other lead marketing sources, but it takes a little bit of money to be able to troubleshoot, figure out where you're at with those. You know, Angelus is another big one that we started using. But the thing with a lot of those lead sources is you have to pay this money up front for a lot of them. Same thing with like billboards or commercials, you know. They can return a good result, but you have to pay this upfront money that you might not know will return. You know, every business is different. Some services will do great on a billboard. Others will not. So if you don't have that cash flow to be able to afford, hey, I can afford $1,000 a month on this, you know, sign a 3-month contract or 3-year contract, whatever it is. You know, you're not really going to be able to, you don't have the money to be able to afford any risk like that. So at first, the big thing I had was a lead generating pay-as-you-go on Home Advisor and then Thumbtack. Those were the 2 niches. I had Thumbtack started trickling in year 2. I found out about them.
What is Thumbtack?
Thumbtack is very similar to Home Advisor, where it's a lead generating where they're going to give it to you, and also they're going to give it to a few other competitors.
Okay.
They are a little bit cheaper per lead, but they don't give you a lot of volume. You know, so they're a good add-on, but they were never like a game changer for us. You know. You know, and with those 2, you know, it was mainly those 2, those lead generating services, you know, referrals, just being nice, friendly, just building up a database of customers. And then from that,
I know it was 7 years ago, but do you have any idea how many customers you serviced your first year?
I have no idea. I could find that, but I really don't.
You think it was over 1,000?
I doubt it. I went. I think I was like 7 or 8 months in, and then I got an employee. You know, so the March was right when I had started. I hit the ground running. Right around gutter clean season or Christmas light season. At the time, it was mainly a gutter clean. I didn't do a lot of Christmas lights at the beginning. The big thing in the fall was gutter cleans. That's what my old business did. Kind of just went off of that. And, you know, so I knew I needed an employee for that. So I got an employee, and then we would go and we'd do the jobs together. But I, at that time, had the abilities to, hey, I'm at this job, but, I got a Home Advisor lead. I can go and do this estimate now. Leave him here. So it gave me a little bit of fluctuation to where I don't have to be at the jobs, you know, and that was valuable. That was extremely valuable. So, you know, I used that to my advantage. Went out and did the estimates. I was booking jobs as we're doing jobs, you know, and kind of just going by the seat of my pants and by the leads that are coming through, you know.
Before we get into what sort of separated your business from surviving to thriving, why did you decide to own your own business?
Like I said, I wanted to own my own business mainly to have more time to train MMA, to train fighting. That was the main thing. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about anything besides the freedom of my schedule to be able to train all the time. I wanted to be a professional MMA fighter. That's just what I wanted to do. You know, and that was the main initial stint and push into entrepreneurship. I got to a point, you know, about 3 or 4 years into business where the business is scaling and doing really well, and I'm giving it about half of my effort, but I'm giving MMA 100% of my effort and becoming the mediocre fighter, you know. And I just came to
super mediocre.
super mediocre. But in all seriousness, I'm giving 100% to something that's a shot. It's a chance that I could make it, and it was a lot of risk. And I said, you know what, I'm giving half of my effort. I know you want to say something. I can tell by the smirk.
I just remembered when you fucking went out to California. You were so happy you were training with Cody Garbrandt right before he got knocked out.
Yeah, that did happen. Poor Cody did get KO'd. A few
Prime
of them.
Cody.
Yeah, I got a chance to train with Cody Garbrandt, prime Cody Garbrandt before the KOs. But anyways, that was the main reason I started the business, and was just for that. That was just for that dream, and I got to a position 3-4 years in where I'm giving the business half of my effort. MMA 100. I said, well, what if I switch these? What would happen? And since I've done that, it just exploded.
Yeah, and a lot of what you do, came from that mastermind group that you're part of. Would you say, or where would you say the first, when you went from? I know it was gradual. Sounds like it was 60, 120, 250, 500.
Yeah, it got to a point where we were doubling over, and I got to a mark where I would say this was year 4. We're right at the 500, going into the $800,000-$900,000 range, where money started getting weird. I had a podcast that I'd met a guy named Josh Latimer on a podcast that he had, and he had a phone line that you could call and ask questions. So I just introduced myself on this line, and then he called me back the next day, and he said, "Hey man, I like your story. I'd like to have you on the podcast." And then had me on, and we kicked it off pretty good. And then from there, he became kind of my coach. I'd meet with him once a month. He's a guy, just background on Josh Latimer. He started a window cleaning company in Michigan. He scaled it to I think he was right around 100 to 150,000 a month was what he was pulling in. Automated the whole thing, sold it, and then he moved him and his family to Costa Rica. Then they kind of got homesick, moved back. But that's kind of his story, So he had done all of this, and he was actually living in Costa Rica when I had met him, and he was giving me the podcast. That's when he started his podcast. It's Quick Talk Podcast, by the way, if anybody wants it. It's got a lot of good, valuable information. Give a lot of free plugs here, But no, so I met him, and he became my coach. Started talking to him once a month, and then money started getting tricky. It was like, hey, I'm doing double the amount, on the gross number at the bottom line, but I'm making less than I was last year at half of this. What the hell's going on here? So my overhead, my budgeting, I had none of that figured out. I had none of my profit and loss. I didn't really know anything about a P&L, about any of the back-end business finances. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't go to college. I didn't have any degree of any sort. I didn't even take any business classes in school. So I just was going in here with a hustle and a little bit of sales and ability to do a service, but I had no idea how to run a business. And it got tricky. I got really to a point where I'm not making a lot of money. So, he introduced me to Brandon Vaughn is his name. Background on him, he owned a home service business in Oregon. He bought it from his dad, who had a heart issue, and then he was making about $100,000 a year all growing up. His dad ran this business making about that. Owner-operator, going out and doing all the jobs. Brandon took over the business and scaled it to $5 million in 5 years, which is just like the GOAT of the home service. That's really, that's phenomenal numbers, and then he sold that. I was lucky enough to go to Josh Latimer's conference that he had. They'll have a few collaborated business conventions, and he had one at his new house that he bought after he moved back from Costa Rica. And then Brandon said, "Hey, I'm selling this, as all clean business, and I'm starting this thing called Conquer. It's a mastermind group that's going to have a lot of different businesses in it, a lot of different platforms and stuff." So I was fortunate enough to be at the actual live event that he dropped this news. So I was one of the first people that signed up for the Conquer program. And, since then it's given me pretty much my college education for business, kind of as I've went. But
and it's not cheap. I mean, I think you sat me back a little bit when you told me the price. How much is it a month?
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is now. Like I said, I've been grandfathered in for a while. I'm sure it's more than it is now just for the basic, but it was $750 a month, and
inflation
it's still
for coaching. His costs went up.
Yeah, and in all reality, it has scaled in that business in itself. It went from, I think when I signed up, there was like 30 businesses in it. There's over 250 now, I think. So it's gotten a lot bigger, for sure. But it costs a lot of money. But I was in a lot of masterminds that were free on Facebook. I'd found people wouldn't show up. It'd be irritating. You'd have 4 people. You'd have 2 or 3 of them show up every week. And what I noticed with that $750 price tag a month is you pay to play. You know, if I'm paying $750 and then I know that the other 3 people in here are paying $750, they're going to be at that meeting, you know, and they're going to be serious. So with that said, you know, you do kind of pay to play. So, you know, it is an expensive group, but the amount of knowledge and education that I got from it, you know, I'll put that against a college ed degree in business for sure, you know.
Ultimately, that led to you meeting your website guy, which helps with your back end, and then led into you learning how to, you know, keep your employees over the winter, right?
Yep, for sure. So, you know, Christmas lights is funny. That was the big thing with the employees in the winter. So with the home service industry, especially in Indiana, you know, there is the downside of it being seasonal. So you've got your January and February where you're not going to have a lot of work. There's not a lot of people that are getting anything done when it's cold out. So, you know, as a tactic, I started doing Christmas lights as an install, you know, just a few of them just to give my guys work when we needed to take them down. So we charged very, very cheap prices. Told these customers, hey, just go to Lowe's or go to a hardware store, grab your lights. That was really fun. That was a good idea, let me tell you. It was a freaking nightmare. But, you know, we were really cheap. We were just going in and booking all of these Christmas light jobs. And
Why was going to Lowe's to buy Christmas lights a nightmare?
well, you just have unknown variables. You don't know what type of lights they're going to get. You don't know what type of clips they're going to get. You'll show up to a house, they won't have they'll forgot, or they'll be at work and they're in the garage, it's locked up. You know, there were so many unknown variables with your materials, not to mention when you're going to get actual lights from the store. If you've got an example, you know, a 25-foot stretch on a gutter on a house, but you've got a 50-foot string of lights, what are you going to do with them? You can't cut them. So we got to tuck them into the gutter. Well, when you get to takedown, if it's been freezing, now you've got a freaking 25-foot strand of bulbs that are chilling in a freaking gutter that are frozen in a big-ass block of ice. So, you know, there was a lot of losses with it for sure. First 3 years of doing Christmas lights, you know, I probably lost 5 years off it in my life, just off stress, irritation, cussing mad. I can tell you so many times I've lost my shit on jobs, you know, just with all of the unknown variables and all the stuff. I hated doing them. Went to another conference and I met a guy that actually, you know, introduced me to commercial grade lights, where I was always intimidated. Like, I don't have an electrician. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to hook up wiring. I didn't realize the simplicity of them and the fact that they're custom cut and how easy they are to make, you know, for each house, a custom size. And it was just a lot easier to deal with them. Not to mention the price now. So now we can charge premium prices because we're serving the real thing. And since then, it blew up. But the initial reason, like I said, to start them was just because I wanted to give my guys work and I had to lay them off. You know, if you've got a cluster of 3 or 4, however many employees you have, and you're paying them $15 an hour and you got a layover of 2 months, well, they can find another $15 an hour job in that 2 months. They have to. They don't have any ability to afford anything. But if they find something that's paying them that amount of money that's year round, why would they come back? So your retention rate of your employees is going to drastically go down if you can't keep a consistent amount of employees hired all year. You know, that's a big factor. That was a big loss that my old boss had, you know, was the fact that he had to leave. I think he was dropping 8 to 10 employees a year, having 4 to 5 of them come back every year. And then you're going to have to train 4 to 5 new, which 4 to 5 new means you had to do 30 applications. You had to do, you know, 10 people that are doing the job, and 5 of them you had to fire. It's a lot of troubleshooting, and I did learn a lot from him off of errors and mistakes, and that was one of them. I think that was really affecting his business that I didn't want to be a factor in mine.
Okay. And then the second thing you learned from that mastermind group was you were introduced to your website guy, Zeke, and ultimately started paying attention to your back end and how you were getting leads and moving away from Home Advisor a little bit, right?
Yeah, I got to a point with Home Advisor where, you know, they do what they give you leads, but they cost a lot more, you know. And I got to a point I was thinking, I was like, man, how are they getting these leads? It's like, let me become Home Advisor, you know. So I started doing research and figuring out how the hell they were getting all these leads, and the majority of them were coming from Google, you know. And from that information, I was like, well, let me try it. And so I tried to do my own ads. Just a $500 budget a month. I didn't know what I was doing. It dropped the bed. I was like, this sucks. This isn't going to work. So I just threw it out for like a year. I was like, this ain't going to work. This is, I think, year 3 or 4, give or take, right around there, you know. And went about a year's time thinking that Google ads sucked. in one of my masterminds, a guy saying nothing but great things about it. I got introduced to Zeke, who said, man, you have somebody that knows what they're doing and the good keywords and bad keywords, you know, and I promise you're going to have a good result. So I gave him a chance, and that started returning more leads at a cheaper cost than HomeAdvisor was, you know. And at the time, my marketing budget, as I said, I was growing. It was 15%, so I wasn't really paying attention to cutting back. So instead of just cutting off HomeAdvisor and just using Google as its replacement, well, now I'm using both, you know. So I just started adding things on and trying to stay within that 15% market as an aggressive strategy to grow. Didn't come until probably 19. I started dropping HomeAdvisor. It just really, we didn't need that much. We had such a database of customers, of referrals, such a good SEO and AdWords program and campaign on Google that we didn't really need to pay that much for the leads anymore. So once you get to a certain size, your overhead, everything starts to get tricky financially. One of the things you're going to want to do is start cutting back on a few things that you can, and HomeAdvisor and a few of the expensive marketing tactics were the few first things that were to go, you know.
Okay. And you had said that Zeke had taught you some things like there were good words and bad words.
Yeah, a lot of stuff I didn't know about AdWords when I was running it myself was, you know, they'll give you the options whenever you go, if anybody's ever tried them, where, you know, they say what key phrases do you want to be to where people look you up in your area, and then if they type in this on the browser, your business is going to pop up. Example of I didn't know that there were good and bad key phrases. I thought that you wanted to get as many people to look and hit your shit as possible. Example in my industry of a bad key phrase, very generic one. There's a lot of them that are more detailed than this and intricate, but power washer is a bad one, right? So power washer, you would think if you're setting up for power washing, let's put power washer in as one of my key phrases. Well, that's a bad key phrase because most people that look up power washing, power washer, they want to buy a power washer. They don't want a power washing service. So what's going to happen is they're going to type in power washer, might accidentally click on your link, assuming that you're selling power washers, and then go and find out you sell a service, and they're going to back out. Well, the problem with that is that costs you money because it's pay per click. So if you have a lot of negative key phrases in your arsenal, you're getting charged so much money for people that aren't even serious, you know, about your services or not even wanting them. And that is a generic one. There's a lot of more detailed ones, and some of them are weird. Some, you know, like you wouldn't even know unless you have this database. But the cool thing about, you know, the Google Ads guy that I have, Zeke, is he runs a network all across America where he has businesses, and he has an Excel sheet that's got algorithms built up with a cost per click and success off of conversions, and seeing which words are converting high and which ones are converting low. And so over the course of doing this for years and years and years, those numbers become so accurate that because I use him, paying him his fee is actually saving money, because it's saving me so many bullshit clicks that would eventually just cost me money at the end of the month. You know, so there's a lot that goes into that. And then, you know, there's multiple different avenues you can use on Google to actually get work. That's AdWords, which is, like I said, it's pay per click, as you go type of thing. It's a monthly thing, similar to HomeAdvisor, where you're only going to get charged for the performance. Then you have things that are more of an investment, like SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. Those are more of a investment. So those typically don't start to pay off for 3 to 6 months after the initial investment. So there's on-site and off-site SEO. On-site is on your website. There's tags, back-end stuff with links that will direct Google to like, and when people search your stuff, it'll naturally pop up. So if you looked up something on Google, I guess a better way to explain it would be, if you look up mortgages, right? First few that you're going to have, well, now they have a new one, but we're not even going to go into that. But the first two they used to have were AdWords. The first three, it's going to say AD right next to what you look up. So if you look up mortgages and you see ad next to it, that means that company paid to be at the top of Google. There's 3 companies that can do it. They rotate them in an order of random. Below that is SEO, search engine optimization. And a long time ago, it used to be where these old companies that have been around for 20, 30 years, they naturally had a lot of search engine optimization built just off the acquired time that they had their website up. Google liked that. So they pop up on the first page of Google. Well, now there's ways that you can have on-site tags and off-site tags where you can have backlinks put on other tags and blogs and stuff like that that will make Google like your page. The more that you have these type of words on your page, or the more you're tagged in these on other websites, the more chance you're going to pop up on the first page of Google. So these don't start to pay off. You're not going to put, $1,000 towards SEO and see in a couple weeks like, oh my God, I'm getting all these new leads. It does take a little bit of time to do. There's strategies with it too. In my industry, as an example, I know that whenever I'm going up into a season, like a power wash season, like May and June, at that time during May, I have a conversation with Zeke and I say, hey, it's time to switch to Christmas lights. I don't do any SEO in May and June for Christmas or for power washing because it doesn't pay off for so long. What I want to do is I want to do that when I'm doing Christmas lights. So when Christmas light season hits, I'm now moving all of my SEO plugs over to power washing so that they start to pay off in May and June a couple months down the road. Same in reverse in May and June for power wash. Now I've switched it over to Christmas lights to where now when October, November pops up, those are starting to pay off. So there's ways to do them right and wrong, I guess, and it's just kind of a little bit of a learning curve. But one thing that really helps is just having a professional. What I would highly recommend of any service that you're doing, if you're an electrician, find an SEO guy that does electrical leads, just those, or in that industry alone. You don't want a general contractor SEO guy, or just you don't want to just a random person doing them that does a lot of them, because they don't have that actual algorithm built for your industry.
What's your average click, cost per click?
Oh, I'd have to look it up. I have no idea. I've gotten to the point I used to pay attention to those a lot more than I do now, but now that I've got a team that's set up, behind.
You think it's over $100?
No, cost per click is, probably $20 to $25 per click.
Okay.
Or per conversion.
They're saying in mortgages like $150.
Well, and it also depends on your average ticket too. So services are really going to be relying on that. So your cost per lead is only going to be strictly related to how much your service provides. If this is a $10,000 service, like if it's a roofing lead as an example, like if you go to Home Advisor and you're a roofing company, you're not going to get $20 leads. My leads were $20 on Home Advisor for gutter cleaning because it's $200, $300 freaking service. When you go on there for something like roofing as an example, that's a $10,000 or $15,000 average ticket. You're not going to get those $20 leads. Those are going to be $100, $150 leads, I would imagine. I don't know the specifics, but so how much you can afford and how much your leads actually cost is strictly related to your average ticket. So those two do definitely talk to each other for sure.
And are you still speed to lead with those, or how do you?
What do you mean?
Like as your Google leads come in and scheduling and stuff, you have it set up pretty so that you're still out there knocking on ladies' doors without ever calling them?
Oh, no. So here's another good thing too with Google compared to Home Advisor. Home Advisor, the reason it's so cutthroat, you got to do that, is because that they've gotten 2 or 3 other competitors that have also got that same information at the same time, and all 3 or 4 of you all know we are going to get charged regardless. So it is an extreme rat race and really competitive at that point. Google, most people that are going to go to your website and then they're going to be interested in your services, they usually are just going to you. They've found your website, they found the link, they've clicked on it, they've gotten to your website, they've called you, or they've got an estimate, whatever your system is. Usually those are more direct leads. So the direct leads are actually, they can be more expensive, but they have a way higher closing percentage than something where it's a market match, where it's going to be 3 or 4 other people,
Okay. So if you had to redo everything from scratch, how would you do it?
Not do it. I'm just kidding. No,
Really,
I'm kidding. I'm
next?
joking.
So let's do that then.
Well, no, I'm joking. So if I were to go back in time and redo it again, I couldn't say there would be, the big thing I would do for sure would be the Christmas lights, making sure, I just didn't have any information on these commercial grade lights. Be one big thing I made an error on.
Christmas lights are expensive though.
Yes,
so
they
if
are
I
for
had
sure.
$8 to my name, could buy a bucket. And we had to get into, Tasha left me. I'm bankrupt now. How would you recommend I get started in your industry? Should I just go clean windows? Is there technique? Do I need to go get a job first?
Yeah, I would for sure say you're going to want the lower overhead services, 100%. Power washing's a bigger average ticket, but the problem with that is you've got to have an expensive rig. You've got to have a lot more overhead with your stuff. With windows, like I said, I started out with a 2-door car and a freaking 24-foot ladder that had rust on it. Probably wasn't even OSHA approved. But block that one out. But mop and squeegee, in your time. So that's a big thing. I would recommend if you want to get into entrepreneurship. You don't really want to get into a lot of if you have a idea, let's say, of a restaurant that's your big end result, well, you don't have any experience in running a business, so you don't want to have something that you're going to initially get into with no experience, nothing leading you that way that costs you a lot of money, because you can get put right on your face that way. If you find a service of any sort, cutting grass, washing windows, these things that are very, very cheap, $100 to $200 to get you right in there as far as equipment goes, that's what I would highly recommend at first, because that's going to build more than just your money. That's going to build your experience on your business. You're going to know so much. Like, I learned way more, I would say, in the first 2 years of business than the last 6. And that's even including all of the paid, a Conquer program and everything, just off the fact that I had nothing. It was brand new. You learn so much right from the beginning, and you don't know what you don't know until you know it. So
one of the things when I was doing research for this podcast was power washing is actually like a super recommended entrepreneurial thing. And every time you and I have talked, you've said, if I was doing, I'd do gutter cleans and window washing because of the customers.
Bingo. That's another thing too, is power washing is always going to give you a return customer every 2 to 3 years. They don't return every year. Some people on windows, you're getting them twice a year. Gutters is at least once a year, some twice, depending on what type of, if they live in the forest or not. But these so the way I like to look at my average ticket, a lot of people don't look at it this way. Let's say it's landscaping. Let's say you're cutting grass and it's $50 to cut this grass. You're doing it once a month. Let's just say it's $12 to make it easy. That's not a $50 job. That's not a $50 average ticket. That's a $600 average ticket, because I'm going to take that whole annual. I'm going to take it annually, because they're smaller, they're faster, but you've went there 12 times. That's $600. Same thing with windows. If it's a $200 window job, but I'm there twice a year, that's $400 every year. Well, if it's a $400 house wash I'm doing every 3 years, that's 400 divided by 3. I've not made more on a power wash job than I have that window, And more importantly, once you have these services that you're in front of them all the time, like windows and gutters, when they do need their power washing done, they know you do it. So you have a higher inclination to get these customers off of the fact that you service them multiple times a year with other stuff. They know you power wash. Once they see that they need it, or you see it, you'll go a year of cleaning, Sally Mae's windows, and then you go the next year and all of a sudden her house has algae on it. It didn't the year before, but hey, by the way, we also power wash. And then now you're adding those on. If you're just power washing, you're not going to get those opportunities, and you're going to really have a lot. It's just going to be more expensive to run right off the bat for sure. People look at that front dollar, they look at that right now money, and that's kind of foolish in my opinion to really look and pay attention to that one-time payment that you're getting when you're only getting it every 2 to 3 years. You've got to hustle so damn hard,
Yeah,
if you got to
washing wasn't easy for you to learn either. I know it's your passion now, but that took years for you to get right. It
did for sure. And it isn't nowadays. The learning curve that I had to do was back when I was doing it. So in the last 5 years, the power wash, or I'll call it the soft wash industry, has exploded to a point where if you go to Google or YouTube now to research how to do something, you're going to find videos of guys doing it, showing you how to do it. When I started doing this, it wasn't like that. You couldn't just go to YouTube and say, how do I soft wash a house with bleach? Because that's the big thing we went to. We first started with power washing, and that sucked. That was one of the worst things we did, because we would get these roll-off power washers we bought at Lowe's, roll up into a window, or roll up, and have to get up on ladders and literally pressure clean the whole house. It'd be a 4 to 6 hour job. Now we can do it with chemicals in 30 minutes with one guy instead of 2. And it's a lot safer. You don't have to get on ladders, but that was a learning curve, getting to the point where I started, that was acquired knowledge on the technical aspect of it. And that acquired knowledge is something that, fortunately, nowadays, starting up, you won't really have to have as much learning curves as I did. There's a lot more information out there now.
It's one of my favorite stories you have too, when that old man got mad at you for finishing his job in 30 minutes.
Yep. No, that definitely happens, and they don't pay us for the minutes. They pay us for the years it took us to learn how to do it in minutes. That's the quote you got to tell them when that happens. But that's the truth. It might be something that takes 30 minutes to an hour to do, but can they do it in that time?
Yeah.
If they could, would they even hire you for half of the price? No, they wouldn't do that. They can't. They don't have the equipment. They don't have the experience. They don't have the techniques. They don't have the years of doing it. So that does take some time to be able to do it that fast, so you're paying for the actual result, definitely not paying for the time it takes to do it. And that is the fun part about power washing that I did like, was the fact that all the other services, you can only get so much faster at cleaning gutters and cleaning windows. You have a little bit of speed you can increase, but there's a max there. It doesn't matter. Power washing, when we go from, like I said, power washing houses to soft washing, you're going from 4 to 6 hours with 2 guys down to 30 minutes. There's a big gap, and it didn't start that way. We started out with a way we were throwing bleach with our power washer, at first. So it saved a lot of time, so we now didn't need ladders as much, but we had to still roll the power washer around with us to the house. There was a lot of hookup. There was a lot of technical aspects that were a pain in the butt. Now we have it set up where our rigs are literally, you start your power washer and it doesn't come off of your trailer. So on the trailer, you run your hose out all the way around the house, you wash the house, and you roll it back up. So it's a lot more effective that way, but yeah, there was a big gap in profit margin there for sure. Over any service, the power wash, from the way we were doing it to the way we do it now, has exploded on our profit margin.
Yeah. It's the worst thing you've ever done.
Oh man, I have so many.
Tell the tree story.
Oh, the tree. Yeah. Okay, so he said tell the tree story. He was setting this up for one specific story that he knows.
Perks of being the best friend.
Yeah,
Tell
that's
the
true.
Tree story.
Yeah, so I washed the roof, and when you wash a roof of a house, there's no pressure on it. You don't want to mess the asphalt shingles up. So this is strictly a chemical, and the chemical you have to use is bleach. Is the chemical you use, but it's at a strength that is exponentially higher than on a house wash. I mean, I'm talking like six times as potent. It's literally the same strength to wash a roof as Clorox bleach bought from the store at 4 to 6% sodium hypochlorite. That's about the strength you're throwing on roofs. So you do have to be careful because you can nuke stuff. Well, I got done with this job, and this was on Geist Reservoir, so it's a beautiful home.
Christian, do you know what sodium hypochlorite is?
It's the active ingredient in bleach. We actually technically use chlorine, not bleach. Bleach is a lower sodium hypochlorite percentage. Neither here nor there. We'll getting carried away here. So, anyways, I'm throwing this onto this guy's house. I'm throwing it onto his roof, cleaning it, and he's in Geist, right on the lake. Got a beautiful landscape, lovely. He's out there mending his garden as we're doing the job. This flash rain comes out of nowhere about an hour after we got done with the job, and it just downpours, and then it stops. It wasn't even in the forecast or anything, but usually if it rains after you get done, it'll dilute your mix. Well, this ran it off of the roof, but it wasn't strong enough to dilute it. So it ran down all of his French drains and just wiped this dude's house and this tree. Killed this 40. It's like a 30 or 40 foot pine tree, and it nuked it. It exterminated everything. I mean, his house went from looking like a nice flush green Indiana house on a lake to Sahara Desert within 2 weeks. I went over there, and there was probably 8 to 10 by 10 foot sections of grass. Beautiful Kentucky bluegrass that are just big circles right where these drains went out that are just brown, And yeah, that was a doozy. That was one of the bigger mistakes I've made for sure.
How'd you fix it?
Yeah, I fixed that with $14,000. That's how that got fixed. 14 grand. Yeah. The reason it was so much was honestly because he had 3 of these 30, 40 foot trees that were kind of a privacy for his back pool.
There's a power. Hold on 1 second. Chris.
Come on, young Jamie.
Jamie would have never made these mistakes.
I mean, this is a good time to mess the audio up when I'm telling the story. I like it.
Just best stories.
Just had to let me get out with this damn story about killing this dude's tree.
Are you using the switches at all? No. Just fucking 800.
There's no need. You got so much technology
just
here.
Turn the TV off. We don't even fucking need it.
I bet Joe Rogan doesn't have this level quality cameras and technology as you do.
Turn the power off on the TV. We don't even need it. Joe Rogan's got something better.
I don't know.
You remember that podcast when?
Not when he first started. I remember when he first started, he had a couple of mics. He probably used a damn iPhone to turn the speaker on. You know, it'd been fine.
That's what Chael Sonnen uses, but
Gotta start somewhere, man.
you got to remember, there was like a year or two ago when they were talking about how powerful the computer was that Jamie had to use for the equipment. So
Why would it have to be that powerful? Why can't he just use his, computer?
I think that it had, because he has so many switches and all the audio's hooked up. I mean,
Oh, I see. I
it's
got
like
you.
20 wires running through that shit.
Yeah, that's giving me anxiety. It's just looking back there, what he's got to deal with. You got your hands full, man. There ain't no way I'd be back here messing with all those. I'd be messing digits up left and right.
Took us all week. So
Back to the story.
You ruined this guy's
so
shit.
he's got 3 30, 40-foot trees that are being used as a privacy fence kind of to block his pool from the neighbor's house. The one right in the freaking middle is the one that was dead. I had an arborist come out when I went to initially look at everything, and then he said, I think my tree, something's wrong with it. I don't know if overspray got it on it. And I'm looking at the top of it, and the top of the tree is browning. And then I'm like, well, it couldn't have been us. It's all the way at the top of this tree. Now I got to do a little bit of research and find out that, when the trees are actually dead, pine trees of that size are dead. They start from the top and then they turn brown and then they go down that way. So that was a fun little Google search right there in his driveway. And 14 grand later, I had to take all 3 of those 30-foot trees out. Obviously, one of them's dead, still need it removed. But the other 2, now you can't just replace a 30, 40-foot tree with a 30, 40-foot tree. It's not possible. Took them all out and got him, 3 others that were smaller that would do the job for the privacy at the time, And yeah, $14,000 later, that was pretty much how that got solved.
Insurance cover that?
They did about a year later, Yeah, that's the thing. The insurance company that I had was you had to file a claim. They were trying not to pay it because they checked the weather report, found out that it wasn't supposed to rain when I told them what happened. They're like, well, that's not your fault. Well, I've already paid him the 14 grand to get everything going. I'm not going to have him wait. So I'm like, no, that ended up being a debacle. I ended up winning that one. They ended up paying it, but it was like a year later, so I paid the money out of pocket at the time. I mean, I was fortunate to be able to do that. I mean, if this was year 1 or 2, that wouldn't have been a possibility. I would have had to wait on the insurance, which would have been the customer waiting. And in my opinion, that didn't really his problem or fault. That TV's on over there, young Jamie.
Is that what's going on?
That's what's going on.
Did you see me looking?
I saw you look, and I saw what happened.
I was like, what is that noise?
It's a good thing you guys happy here, man. You never would have known.
I would have thought I was crazy. I was like, are we picking up some walking?
Yeah, I thought somebody was coming in hot, coming to ruin our party here.
Was that Nick Cage on there?
It was. I don't even know what movie it was, but yeah.
So did they end up paying? Yeah,
they ended up paying for it. Yeah, I mean, it was about a spin around the sun later,
Okay.
But I got my money back for that. But yeah, that was fun.
So what's next steps look like for you?
Well, next steps, I'd say, we've got.
Is there plan to grow? Are you happy where you're at? You gonna die at 1 million?
Honestly, I'm kind of looking at things where I'm not as money hungry as I used to be. I'm fine with where I'm at as far as financially. I would rather a smoother, easier life, be able to pursue things, go on vacations, kind of a, fortunately with entrepreneurship and automating a business, you do have the abilities to retire pretty much an age that you want once it's already automated within reason, So my goals in the next 2 years, I've already discussed with my wife, are really just getting it to the point where we have 5 to 10 hours of basic work we have to do, which is just making sure everybody's doing their jobs. And getting the income to come through and kind of just going from there with our pursuits next in life, which at that point we don't really know yet. But, sky's the limit. It's a fortunate life that I've kind of...
So you're not selling. You're going to keep it and do...
Plans to keep it for sure, and selling it would be a large chunk of change for sure, so that's also a possibility, my goal now is to smooth things up, get it to where, we've got everything as smooth as it can be. It's very hard to do when you do 40% of your revenue for an entire year in 6 weeks during Christmas lights. So that's going to be hell on wheels no matter what, it is, it's a crazy season, I've also debated on maybe branching off to where I split the business off, where everything on the wash aspect and exterior cleaning, sell that, just keep the Christmas lights. issue I have with that is I have a guy that I know from a Mastermind and Conquer that did that, didn't have an exterior cleaning business. Well, the problem he has, he's got 20 or 30 brand new people he's got to hire every year, and that's very hard. So the wash business gives you the amount of workers throughout the year. Doesn't make as much, it's not as profitable, but now you've got that infrastructure with your team that you can use to pivot into Christmas lights. But if you're going with just Christmas lights, that's a lot of stuff to do, So they do kind of favor each other, but at the same time, it wouldn't be something I would find out of the realm of possibilities to split both businesses off, sell the wash, keep the Christmas light, go from there. That's also in the forecast. I don't know. So it's a question I still haven't decided myself with where we go. I'm very undecided. I do know that, blowing it up to another size with way more employees isn't something I'm finding to be in the cards, It is fun. It is very enjoyable to be able to have a team and know that, you're giving people jobs that they're using to support their families. It does feel good, but at the same time, more employees, more problems sometimes, I've gotten to a point where I have a good team. I care about my team. A lot of them are close friends, even from high school. And I'm fine with where we're at. I think they are too. And staying where we're at is something that I find to be something to do for sure.
I find this to be the most depressing thing you've said all day.
Hey, well, I also have a lot of other interests. Traveling, I've gotten extremely, carried away with ancient civilizations, stuff like that. So traveling the world, going around and seeing a lot of places. Me and my wife went to Egypt 2 years ago. That was freaking awesome. I'd love to go back there.
2 years ago?
Yeah, time flies, doesn't it? Yeah, bro.
Really?
Yeah, man, that was the last real big vacation I took too. I've been a few close places, but oh yeah.
Milo sucked the life out of me.
Yeah.
2 years gone.
Yeah. I mean, dude, we might be coming up on 3 years, man. It might be closer to 3 years away. I mean, it's coming up on 3. It was 3 Februarys ago. 2. We're going up on another one. So, oh yeah, we're almost at 3, 2.5. Time does fly, but I do like a lot of that stuff, like ancient civilizations, going and seeing a lot of mysteries around the world. Just seeing different cultures, too, is a big passion of mine. I like to, even when they're high alert. My wife's not on the same page there. She was not a fan of the Egyptian culture. I loved it. I loved going into their towns. I love seeing how they, they've got times in Egypt where they've got towns and they will drop all
You can take
on
me
site.
to Egypt. I'll go with you.
I'm sure you will. Yeah, we'll probably end up in a freaking jail somewhere. I already know. We'll sneak into something we're not supposed to. We could easily do that. I could see that. We've done it before. We've snuck into places, and I've seen borderline. We do, and I don't have any problem with knocking off the bucket list, getting arrested in a third world country of some sort. So we could go somewhere like
They'll
that.
Get us out eventually.
We'll be fine. Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to go to John Rush, the homegirl, the basketball player. She's kind of hit. Which is ironic because I saw her on a picture on Facebook sitting down during the Pledge of Allegiance, which was pretty good. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with getting her out of jail. Let her out.
Well, they're kind of holding her for leverage, I think.
Yeah.
That's definitely more of a thing,
100%, but
Yeah.
but 2 cartridges a week, get fucked. You know that. Putin's doing cocaine. He's fucking just.
Hitler did.
Black.
Hitler for sure did. No, he did meth. Back before meth was cool.
Who, Hitler?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Pretend like that 7-year-old
Young
man.
Jamie, pull up a video of Hitler spazzing out in the crowd at the Olympics. Have you seen that?
No.
Dude. All right. Break bread, Jamie. Let's get it. Don't let us down.
Do you not know how to dual screen this? What's going on?
iPad dead will not charge.
Well, what's the iPad doing for us? Just one angle?
It was zooming in on you. It was yours.
Well, now we need to zoom in on Hitler on the TV, which is that one, so we're good. Fuck that thing. This does not look like Hitler, young Jamie. This looks like a movie.
This is the movie hub.
Well, you work on that, and we'll continue the
Do
conversation.
you not know
Just
how to
let me know.
dual screen? Like, why are you sharing screens like
I
that?
don't have another monitor.
This is the monitor. You can't dual screen that, extend.
If I had 2 monitors.
I don't.
You're the one that gave him the equipment. Don't be pointing at young Jamie.
What we'll normally do is have 2 monitors, and then I could be looking at one, and then the other monitor would be 2.
If this was a Windows PC, you can have screen 1 be what you're looking at on your laptop and screen 2 being there. I would find it hard to believe that this can't be screened too. Like,
Well, either way, let's just get the Internet Explorer or YouTube popped up. I think Hitler on meth at Olympics should do it.
this can't be real.
No, I swear to God. Yeah, he used to take meth before. Like Nazis were they came up with the first meth out there. They were using it. Kamikaze pilots. Yeah, it's a big thing. Look, fucking whacked, boy. Look at him. God damn. That wasn't even the one I was talking about. The one I was talking about, he's yelling, and you could see in his eyes that he is popped. Crystal meth. But yeah, they used to do it all the time. I mean,
Was
he would
Hitler
get.
yoked when he was fucking young?
What do you mean, like big, like jacked?
Was he always an ugly dude, or was he just?
I mean, he was not ever really gifted on a lot besides talking, I think. I mean, he was also a Jew. Fun fact about Hitler.
Really?
Yeah. He's not German. Look at his fucking hair. Swear to God. Hitler is straight up German. Hitler has Jewish ancestors. He's not the actual Aryan blood 100% like, he really wanted.
Just go to Google. I don't need to see pictures of Hitler anymore.
Look at his sweet ass outfit he's got going on. Hold on, go back real quick.
The
Let's
Boy
pop.
Scout pants.
Look at that outfit. God damn.
What the fuck was he wearing, bro? Why would anyone ever follow this guy?
I mean, that's enough on business. We can start going on some wild shit and looking stuff up too. Let's go.
I don't have it. Dude, all I've been doing is fucking looking up podcasts and shit for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I have nothing new.
What do you mean?
Like, if it's not MMA or podcasting,
I
I
see
haven't
what you're
looked up
saying.
anything new.
Yeah.
I saw the student loan stuff. You saw Sally Mae. You said Sally
The
Mae as your
10K
customer name earlier.
Yeah, I
and
know,
was like,
I
you
did.
fucking triggered me.
And it's strike a nerve. Yeah. Yeah.
Say this fucking guy.
I mean, it's one of those things with the Sally Mae, like people that have, they've paid their loans, that have graduated, and they've had to pay them to do the hard knocks. Like, that doesn't mean because you've had to suffer that others have to suffer too. Like, that's the mentality that everyone has. Like, if they had a childhood upbringing of some sort where they had to walk 2 miles or 10 miles to school, they have the stigma of, you have to also do the same things that sucked for me because I had to do them. And that's a foolish mentality. I don't think as humans we really need to have that mindset. It's like, why would we not want the next generation to not have to handle losses that we had to handle? It's kind of a stupid mindset to have of, you have to suffer because I do.
No, it's exactly why we're doing the podcast.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you were the one who got me into own my own business after berating me fucking for 2 years straight.
Yeah, he was a pussy.
Agreed. It was the best decision I ever made. Thank you for that. But ultimately, you and I and a lot of my other friends and our other friends that own their own businesses have a lot that we could teach somebody. Like, you went through 2 years of power washing before you learned soft washing. There's just a lot of wisdom where we could get somebody where it took you 3-4 years to get to 500,000.
For sure.
How fast could you get to 500,000 next year?
100%. And I see that all the time. Power wash industry is extremely, extremely guilty of this. Like, if you have any power wash industry, social media platforms, you'll see a new guy get on there and ask a question that we find as older people to be, a dumber question because they don't know. None of us knew that. And I'll always get on these and I get carried away and start talking shit, backing the new guys up. Like, did you know any of the stuff you're clowning this guy when you first started this? It's not like this was just right out of the womb. I know this information. Jamie, what are you doing back here breaking shit, dude?
Bro, Christian, get it together.
God. Our monitor went down too.
Fired.
We went from seeing Hitler on meth to black. It's not good. But no, that's the big thing that I see guys doing all the time. They'll get on there and they'll talk shit about a new guy that's asking what we would call a dumb question when it's not a dumb question. And now they don't want to ask these questions anymore.
Yeah.
And I was that dude. And that's why I backed them up and they act like they aren't. They were the same dude too. You know what I mean? Everybody was on there asking questions and getting shit on by people that knew more and it's just
Christian,
a
can
stupid
you turn
thing.
the other TV off?
We can watch that too, and start commenting on the movie.
Nick Cage.
What movie was that?
If I had to
It was
guess,
Nick Cage, but
if I had to guess, is that war one he's in? God of War, I think. I don't know. Yeah,
I've never been a big fan of him. He just seems like I don't know. I just
you're
don't.
not a fan of Con Air.
Nick Cage, man.
You're not a fan of fucking Con Air.
No, he just like got that stupid ass like smirky little voice, and it's like he's just a little smart ass. He's one of those dudes on them power wash fucking social, you know, on them things talking shit.
With you more about anything. In my life.
I mean, we've had some disagreements. I don't know if that would be the number one, you know, take the crown.
We haven't had any fucking disagreements.
We had a disagreement on you buying $20,000 worth of technology here when we just slapping a podcast together, you know?
No, that wasn't a disagreement. That had to happen. This is where the business. First of all, we didn't even fucking talk about it because I don't care about your opinion.
We had a disagreement on the fact that you look more professional and it sounds way better on a podcast to have the damn headphones on. You wanted to get all this technology and go in here with naked ears. You're just hanging out. And I got ugly ears too. I don't know. I'm trying to hide those. That might have been it. I'm a little insecure about my fucked up cauliflower ears. But yeah, you know, been a few.
But yeah, that's sort of, you know, I don't disagree. I think people want to keep people away, and I think
it's an insecurity thing. It's a thing. Like when people do that and they want to get super upset, like on the social media platforms, when they see something that they find to be a dumb question, to just say something that makes them feel dumb about asking that question, just lets me know that person is weak inside themselves. They want other people. It's like a, hey, I'm here. Hey, I know this answer. And they want to put their input in on social media to let everybody know how cool and how smart they are. And that's literally the only thing they're getting out of that, is that self-satisfaction of, I threw my comment in. I know what the answer is. He's stupid. I'm not. Haha. And then they leave. And it's retarded, you know.
Have you seen that Twitter account where the people who are complaining about student loans goes and says, hey, is this you? And shows their PPP loans?
See, there you go. I ain't complaining about that PPP money. I like it.
Every single time somebody complains, they have to go on and fucking Google, and they're like, hey, is this you who got this free money?
Yeah. And then, that is true. You know, and even that, any way you get money and you get an opportunity to get free money, you know, you can't blame anybody for taking that.
No.
It's not their fault. It's straight up business.
My big thing with it is just a fucking stupid ass plan.
Well, the PPP loans, I do somewhat get their strategy there, and the stimulus checks. I get the strategy. The strategy was all
you can't appreciate
they were band-aiding. They were putting a Band-Aid on a rash. And if you've ever put a Band-Aid on a rash,
1% of the people who applied for the PPP loan got 25% of that money. 1%.
Well,
that's fucking
what they were doing with the money they were given
out overseas. How many rich people got the PPP loan? Why the fuck does Tom Brady need PPP loan for?
I don't know.
He doesn't need that fucking money.
I'm not saying that the PPP loan.
It's just two half-baked plans.
All of the strategy with that, the stimulus checks,
got
all of it
against Tom Brady, by the way.
All
Go
of
get your Super Bowl.
You're hating on Tom Brady.
I'm not hating on Tom Brady.
That sounded hateful.
I didn't mean it hatefully.
Well, it sounded pretty negative.
Stupid. What'd you say?
You hate Tom Brady?
I don't hate Tom Brady.
I think it sounded pretty negative
Got
to me.
nothing against Tom Brady. I just think he shouldn't have had the PPP loan.
I don't know.
I have nothing against Tom Brady.
Well, in my case, for the PPP loans that I got, you know, at the time when we got them, the first one dropped right when, you know, we still have a dead season where we have our takedowns. Once we get done with those, we still have like a 4 to 6 weeks where we have very minimal work, where we're kind of scrounging, doing stuff at the shop. I'm trying to get my guys a lot of work. That first PPP loan dropped like mid-February or something. So I was like, kept the whole roster. You know, because I knew that the rules of the PPP loan to get it forgiven were you had to use at least 70% of it for your payroll. So I was like, okay, well, I can't just take this money and then use it for investments of whatever sort. Even that, giving a small business money in the time of a situation of keeping employees on roster, in my opinion, was an excellent idea. You know, because I floated the entire payroll all the way through it. The majority of all that stuff, I mean, we were using it to our advantage. Like, they weren't just getting money and hanging out at home. We had just switched to a different facility, so we had a lot of shit we had to do there and a lot of, you know, construction, just getting the place pretty much where we wanted it to be. And all that money, most of that money on that first PPP loan was used for that, you know. So if it weren't for that, they wouldn't have given the opportunity for them to have that money, you know.
No, PPP loan was.
And the same with the stimulus check. The stimulus check was a plan as a strategy to, like I said, it's the same concept of putting a Band-Aid on a rash. You put a Band-Aid on a rash, you're going to make it worse. That motherfucker's got to air out and dry out, right? You put a Band-Aid on it, it's going to be okay for a minute. It's going to be covered up, but then that's going to make more problems. And that is exactly what happened to our economy by doing that. But at the same time, I checked numbers. And when that first stimulus check dropped, our numbers the next week were 3 times the week before and the week after of how many people bought home services from us. So that money wasn't just given to them and they didn't just throw it in bank accounts. That was a strategy. They knew that they were going to buy it. And by them giving them that free money, they were going to buy it. Well, by buying things with that money, that's going to give other businesses money, and they're going to spend that on their groceries. They're going to spend that on their kids. Cycle the currency, you know. So that was kind of the strategy with the stimulus check, you know, and they might pipe it up to say, oh, it was just to help everybody out. And, well, not really. It was just to help the economy. And it did help the economy for the time being, gave it a little bit of a boost.
How's that doing now?
Well, I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet, to be honest. You know, and that's another thing, too, that's kind of made me dial back on this extensive, massive, ambitious growth is, you know, I don't know how much trust I have in our economy really doing the greatest. You know, I mean, we say that, but
I think the difference is
I'm hoping that it does fine, but I'm preparing for it to do the worst because that's what you have to do. You have to prepare for the worst. And in my opinion, by how much money we funneled out, I mean, I can't even remember exactly how much money it was, but I do know that 5 years up to last year combined wasn't even like, I don't know what the exact number, I think it was like half of the money that was printed out compared to last year alone. You know, 1 year we 5X 5 years before that. That's a lot of freaking money that's printed out.
I looked up the deficit, and this is like light in the back of my head. I just think both plans are stupid. PPP loans stupid, stimulus stupid, student loans are stupid. All of them are just spending for no reason. So let me say that I don't care whose plan it was. They're fucking stupid plans. But I looked it up. However much we make in taxes per year, it's only like 5x our national deficit. So we're not that bad. Like as a country, where I get annoyed is we continue to overspend.
Well, we've just built an economy. We've just built a culture around buying shit. Like, there's not very many people that can't go to a bank and get a loan and then just go buy whatever the hell they want to buy. That's a problem. Because when you give people, especially 18-year-olds, the ability to have a credit card, that they don't have any abilities, capabilities, knowledge of how to, they don't know how they're going to burn themselves, and they're just getting right out of school and they want a nice-ass car, they're going to get that nice car and they're going to give it to them. Because they know that they're going to get them on the back end, but that's just causing more and more issues that just stack up on themselves. So instead of gradually grinding it out, you know, I find myself kind of in between like a Peter Schiff, which is a big economics guy. But I find myself more like the Dave Ramsey, Peter Schiff, the extremist of saving, no debt, all of that, and then somebody that's like really, really, you know, using a lot of debt for their business. I'm kind of like right in the middle. There is good debt and bad debt, obviously. You know, if as a business, I know that like a good debt would be something like a vehicle. It's a 5 to 6% APR. You know, it's a lower interest rate, but that money that truck is returning is paying for itself. You know, but a credit card that's a 20% APR would be defined as a bad debt. You know, and a lot of people don't really know what all those APRs even mean getting out of school. They don't realize that if it's 20%, you know, that means if you're paying $100 off on it, $20, that's just going towards the loan. You know, so there's a lot of things that aren't really given as far as knowledge. And I think one of the biggest problems that we have is we don't educate our kids in high school on money. Like, why? It's like, it's honestly, I feel like it might be a little, you know, put my tinfoil hat on conspiracy. Like, I feel like it might be set up in the betterment of the people that are giving the loans by kind of hiding the knowledge and hiding the information and hiding the education from kids and then dropping them into, you know, into society and not having any wisdom. They know how to do calculus, but if they, you know, they could find a freaking way to a star, which is the whole reason that calculus was made, but then they can't find a budget. They don't know interest rates. They don't know any of this basic stuff that you need as an adult. Yeah. You know, and it seems like we've been saying that as a population for so long, and it's still not getting done, that it has to be withdrew for whatever reason they have, which, you know, we don't know, but it's a bad setup, you know. And it does set you up for failure, you know. Set you up for a debt trap.
I don't disagree. Hey, let's pull up these fights for this Nick Diaz card next week if you get a chance.
All I gotta say is I'm not surprised, motherfucker. Let's go.
Get your fucking
Let's
picks.
go, dude. Whoa.
Going to Kings Island.
Can you imagine the statement that we'll make if Diaz takes
Diaz.
Nah, I'm just calling Nick.
Yeah.
If
I
Nick,
call
he
him
looks
Nick
more like
too.
a Nick, so it's like their names are backwards. I don't know why. I feel like he's more of a Nick. But if Nate Diaz goes in and beats the guy with the most clout in the UFC in the whole promotion right now, and then does not re-sign a contract, how big of a statement that will make against the UFC?
Are you
That's
anti-UFC?
Do what?
You're not anti-UFC.
No, I'm 100% for the UFC. I think that fighter pay is lower, and that is
Okay.
what has built this business to where it's at. If we have everybody doing these Jake Paul fights, there are no longer Jake Paul fights, are they? Who's going to pay for these if all these people are doing it? Like, if you take the whole UFC roster and you toss them into all these fights, they're no longer going to be making that money because now they're all doing them.
Here you go. All right, here's the main card. Hey, pull up the...
Johnny Walker's on that bad boy.
Who's the preliminary main event? Scroll up.
Who's the guy Johnny's fighting? He just came off a loss, or he came off of 2 losses, hadn't he?
That main event card sucks. Go ahead and go back over to
That's
the main
not
card.
it. Young
Yeah,
Jamie.
No, that was
There
it.
we go. There we go. Here we go. Who's this Eon guy?
Is he any good?
I have no idea. I've never heard
they
the
just
guy that
throwing-
Johnny's fighting. I'm starting bottom up, bub.
You can't. The only problem is you can't bet anything on Johnny Walker. He's so chinny.
He got knocked out and I think he's lost his last 2, right?
Remember when that motherfucker? They were saying he was going to beat John Jones. What's going on with this TV again?
They really want us to watch
Is
this
there a
movie. Just keeps sneaking on there, doesn't it? Well, I don't know on the first 2. Well, that Macy girl, I've seen her fight. I'm going to take Irene just off of seeing Macy fight before. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't know.
But look at that fucking neck.
Oh, Kevin
bro.
Holland? Whoa. Let's go.
I'm gonna go.
Oh,
Right
so,
up- right
so
up the
Kamzat
left
and Nate are the main event.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go right up the left side there, except for Nate. I'm picking Nate Diaz for the upset.
You're going left side all the way up?
All the way up.
Man, they're both coming off losses with old Lee and Tony. Well, Tony's coming off a few, but he's been fighting headbusters. I'm taking Tony on that one.
But he went welterweight in that league.
I don't think
good.
he's all right, man. I haven't seen anything really fascinating by him. I mean,
Lee?
Yeah, he fought Kamzat and got beat. I know that, and then
But Tony just got knocked out.
but
He's done.
Yeah.
That chin's gone.
I
I know
don't
he's got
know.
a little bit of crazy in him, but that chin's gone.
Tony Ferguson is a different animal, man.
I
I mean, when he was in that when he messed his it was his arm and then armbar. Oh my god, man, he is a freaking zombie. You know, and that's looking at the right side on the top too. You know, that's the big thing that I think that separates MMA from other sports is there's athletes that do sports and every other sport, and then there's fighters that fight. And in my opinion, like a Nate and a Tony, if you take them and try to make them basketball players or something or another sport, they're not really like athletes, but they're fucking fighters, you know. And so that allows them to be top of the game as a fighter because they're just fighters, and that's what makes fighting different, in my opinion, than other sports. Is that you can have people that are they've just got it built for them. They've got chins, they can just take Homer Simpson shots, you know, and they don't have very big athletic abilities, but at the same time, they've got heart, they've got cardio, and they've got all of these other attributes that only benefit a fighter. They don't benefit in any other sport. So and you've also got that one knockout, that fight.
Man, the more I think about this, I like Nate Diaz against Kamzat.
I swear
Kamzat's not going to knock him out.
See, he's a phenomenal wrestling grappler, but yeah, I think he's a blue. He might be a purple now. You know, I'm not saying he's a normal purple belt at a regular school.
Right.
He's obviously higher level, but as far as his abilities in some positions, I see Nate being an extreme threat. I think Nate can. I'm not surprised, motherfucker, if he goes in here and thumps his ass. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's not going to get knocked out. You know, he might get dropped, but if he gets in guard and Kamzat jumps on top of him, I don't think that's a good decision.
Yeah.
But my opinion on the overall fight, if I'm going to really say who I truly believe is going to win and how it's going to win, is going to be a 50-45 Kamzat.
Oh, you think it's going to be a decision?
It's just going to be a decision, 5 rounds where Nate's going to get thumped, you know, and then
You think
it's
he's
gonna-
thumping him on his feet or thumping him?
He's stumping him on his feet. I don't know if Kamzat's going to engage in the ground with him. I don't think he would
You think
risk
Kamzat's
that.
going to stand up and beat him and
I think Kamzat is going to go against Nate on the feet, and then he's got the power and the speed to where he's going to tune him up. If he comes into a position where we have the Nate Diaz and McGregor 2, where he gets dropped, it's just going to be the good old finger. Get your ass back up on the feet. I definitely don't think Kamzat's going to go to the ground with him.
He's a Swedish national champion.
But yes, but he knows that he's definitely a better striker, in my opinion, than Nate. You know, Nate's got good boxing and good cardio, but overall, 9 out of 10 times, Kamzat's going to beat him on the feet, but we're a little more neutralized when he gets to the ground. And I think that as far as the strategy goes, it'd be more risk to engage in the ground. Not to say that Kamzat can't go to the ground and still beat him. It's more risky. Why would he do that risk? You know, why that just doesn't seem like a good game plan. But who knows? You know, we've proven with the Gilbert Burns fight that Kamzat does have the cardio and the ability to go in there, but the thing is the output that Burns gives compared to Diaz, that might also be a problem. You know, he's throwing some hard punches, but it's not that volume. It's not that.
I just thought that in that fight, Kamzat showed the lack of cardio, and that was only a 3-round fight, right?
It was a 3-rounder, wasn't it?
It was a 3-round fight, and
this is looking more like Nate as I think about it. It was.
And here's what else I was thinking was Kamzat was willing to go into those firefights. You could see like the young athlete in him. He wasn't cool, calm, collected. He was like, okay, you hit me, let's go.
Yep, and Nate's got that experience.
You know Nate's going to give him that Stockton slap and just point at him, and that Russian's going to come out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like I said, I'm not surprised. I will not be surprised.
I'm going to go put some money on Nate tonight.
I'm putting $1,000 on Nate Diaz. I'm already saying it right now. It's a plus 800. That's the $8,000 payout.
Send the receipts.
Yeah.
So Tony Ferguson is who you're picking?
I'm gonna pick Ferguson on that one. I don't know, to be honest. I'm kind of ignorant on I know the bottom 3. I know them, but I don't know the opponents. I know Kevin Holland. I don't know Daniel Rodriguez too much. I've seen him fight before, but I just can't remember enough about him to really make a call on it. What's Kevin Holland? Who did he just fight?
Pull up Kevin Holland.
I think he just had
Do you have his record? Can you get his record on the UFC.com, or they make it?
I think you gotta pull up a different browser and get his
shit.
Tapology out.
Tim Means. There he is. Tim Means and Alex Oliveira.
Oh, and then I remember 2 fights ago, Kevin. Remember he got that headbutt that fucked him up real bad and lost. I don't remember who that was to. That was 2 fights ago. Who was it?
I don't know.
Look up.
Go to 2021.
Well, just look up Kevin Holland's. Was it Derek Brunson? Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I thought it was a.
Those are good.
I think
good
it was.
losses,
It was. No, Derek Brunson actually just took him down, and beat his ass. It wasn't the one I'm talking about.
It wasn't Vittori. He was.
No, I think it was a.
He's on wins now.
Tim Means, maybe.
I didn't even realize he fought Tim.
No,
Means.
Tim Means. He beat him. Never mind.
That's a welterweight.
Well, it
Wonder why this is a
maybe it was.
catchweight.
Now let's play this video. It's 7 minutes. We can probably skip through it though. But yeah, he got cracked hard. Who the hell is that? Bow, there it is. That one took him out. Whap. And he wasn't the I don't know. I think he continued, but it severely fucked him up to where he couldn't recover. I remember that. So that was kind of unfortunate, but you know, Kevin Holland's an extreme freaking athlete. You know,
I just like his pre-fight and post-fight interviews.
I just like hearing him talking there. You know,
He's
he's so corny when he does it too. He knows stupid shit.
He's the world's nicest guy.
He's just saying stupid shit in there. It's not like Khabib whispers, you know, where he's like taking their soul and whispering in their ear, you know, sadistic shit.
Most overrated fighter in UFC history. Fucking.
Yeah, he came in, did what he wanted, and got out. Now he's got his own promotion. You know, I mean, it's a fight game, man. It ain't like baseball where you're gonna go in and just hit home runs and maybe accidentally get hit in the elbow with a ball.
You think he lets people leave Eagle FC to go to UFC?
I mean, if it's not in a contract, I don't see why he would do that if they were in contract. No, you know.
No, but I mean, like, you think, like, as he's bringing his group of guys up, he lets them, like, does he consider Eagle FC on par with Bellator 1 and UFC, or is he?
I don't think so. I don't think it's on that level at all.
So he's letting him out and going on. He's thinking more of a feeder, you think? Because who was the fucking?
Well, he's got the he's had a few.
He had that big guy, the welterweight slash. What was his name? Had a Tesla.
I know exactly what you're talking about now.
I hate you. He got beat up by Tony Ferguson. Go to Tony Ferguson's wins. Choked in his.
Tony Ferguson had a run, didn't he?
Dude,
you know, it's like 12. I think it was 12 in a row, 12, 13 in a row.
Go to 2020 for me.
Man, what a knockout, though. Man.
2019? Try 2021. I'm sorry. Holy cow. So all the way back in 2018.
Yeah, but look at those people he's fighting. You know what I mean?
When was
Whoa, when was this?
Hit 2017.
Hold on, go back to that.
Kevin Lee, that's the guy. Kevin Lee fought in Eagle FC.
Did he?
Main event.
Kevin Lee's who knocked out.
I didn't realize that was back in 2017. That was so fun. Remember, because Tony
what was
had
the
the
guy that
staff on his chest.
What was the guy that beat Holbrook? Fisher got on there and said, "I'm ready to get on my bass boat," and then he got knocked out by Kevin Lee. It was a devastating knockout. Yes. Oof. Yeah. Look that one up real quick. Let's look at that knockout. Gillespie against just said his name. Damn it.
Holbrook?
No. Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee versus Gillespie.
Bro, he got fucking head kicked. Dude, that's when I thought Kevin Lee was about to make a tear.
I thought he's dead.
It's right there. It's not even. You can just go right to the end. He's just gonna get fucking knocked the fuck out.
I mean, that was one of the most devastating knockouts I think I've ever seen.
Had the little top knot. I thought he was about to go on a real tear. Can you full screen that?
This is. I haven't heard anything from Gillespie since this knockout either. That might have done it in. He might be on that bass boat forever now.
That's like the first fight
he went right back to that bass boat. Jesus. It's coming up right here because I remember it was right against that back cage. Man, I don't even want to watch it.
Yeah, you do.
It's so bad. You know, and he's in there too. That's the crazy part with MMA. You know, it could be a 50-50. There it is. Oh, my God.
Just sleeping.
Jesus Christ. They didn't even have him folding up in the film. They said, we can't even show everybody that. God damn it. Bow. Oh, my. Oh, man. Oh.
It's just unnecessary.
God. That was that Donald Cerrone combo, too. You know, that right, left hook. Boom. Oh, he didn't even throw the left hook. He said he bypassed the hook entirely. God, yeah, man. That was bad. Who else? What other extreme knockouts lately?
So you're not gonna be here for this card. You're going.
No, I'm gonna be.
You're gonna be. I'm
gonna be focused on beelining my ass back, but for this card, 100%.
All right.
I'm gonna.
I'll get the room. We'll book it.
Yep.
We'll book it.
We definitely need to watch that live, especially if I'm gonna have $1,000 on it. I'm gonna be watching that bitch live.
Fucking driving home.
Yeah, driving home. We'll be in some BFE town and I'll lose my service. Man.
Yeah, man.
I was watching that Lorenzo Trevino. He's the guy from IBG that was in the Nationals. He was in the semis. And we're headed back from Tennessee. And I told my I told Ash, I was like, I guarantee we're going to pull these fights up as we're sitting here at this breakfast place. And we're watching him. He's the fifth fight. And I'm like, we're going to watch all these. And as soon as we get on the road, we're going to lose service. Man, he's knuckling up in the gloves, like in the middle of the ring with his opponent. And then dink, freezes right there. I got so pissed.
Did he win?
Now he lost. I don't know how he lost. I didn't even get a chance to fucking watch it. I got it jumped in like, I don't know, it's like the end of the third round. That was but
Is he good?
yeah, he's good. He's smooth, man. He's super good. He was really good back in the day. He was actually fought on an MMA card with me way back. You would probably know him if you saw him, but he's got super good striking, man. He's super clean striking. Man, he's fun to watch. You know, he's got a good style. He's got a good style that he switches from ortho to south very well. I don't know if it looks like he has any favorite either, but he does that really good. Kind of like Sandhagen. You know, Corey Sandhagen.
Hey, when's TJ Dillashaw
TJ
fight?
Dillashaw was the first one that actually patented that switch style. That,
Dominic Cruz was.
Well, Dominic's was more of like a goofy.
Did you see him get head kicked?
Yeah. I saw that at Dave & Buster's.
He was whooping that ass too. I thought he was gonna win that fight for a second.
I almost didn't get a chance to watch that. Listen to this story. So I'm sitting here at Dave & Buster's. Ashley and Abby are out playing games. I'm watching the fights. These two Karens walk up to me and say, "Do you have a wife and a daughter out there playing games?" I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah." He's like, "Well, your daughter is with security, lost your wife or something. She's crying." I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm jumping back. I'm like, I don't like my daughter's she's 9 years old. She knows where I'm sitting. I'm thinking it didn't sound right, but I'm like, it's right during this fucking fight. And I jump up and I'm running back there, and then I see them playing games. Like, that ain't even my kid. They got the wrong person. I don't know whose dad it was that was in there,
Fucking left.
And then I get back on there, and as soon as I look at my freaking screen of my TV or on my phone, ding, he's getting knocked out. Dominic was like, mother effer. Man, I was so mad at those Karens coming up like that.
I was just mad at what is that fucking guy's name who knocked him out? I was just mad at him. Retiring Dominic like that.
Who did he fight? I can't even remember the hell. I can't remember his name either.
It was a V. I always forget his name. Who just knocked out Dominic Cruz?
Oh, it was Cheeto Vera.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that's supposed. Yeah, did you see the memes later? That I saw memes that said Cheetos finally deserved his rematch with Sugar Sean O'Malley. I thought it was so funny. He's such a douchebag, man. I can't get on the Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Oh, you're
page.
fucking high.
I know he's right up your alley for something you'd love. I could see that rainbow ass hair.
You like Sugar Sean?
He's a good marketer. I'll give him that. Because if you think about it, like, what's going to make you stand out in the UFC? Your hair. Like, look at
fuck his hair. Have you seen his shirts that he's selling?
No, it's not shirts. They're merch.
Have you seen
Just
his
to let
merch?
you know that they're merch, and he also sells weed merch too. Yeah.
But his Sugar Sean jerseys are sweet as fuck.
Oh yeah.
When I win this Nate Diaz bet from you, if you could roll that into a jersey, that'd be good.
You just want me to buy you a Sugar Sean O'Malley jersey?
I want that Sugar Sean green and pink jersey right there. Not that one. Green one.
You know what? That's one. That's $200, so it's double our bet. And two, I don't even remember making this $100 bet with you
I should get it
over
too.
this fight.
It was when we were sitting.
I
at
know
Twin
where
Peaks.
you say I don't know if I made $100 bet.
100%.
I can
because I lost 50,
I can easily
which, by
roll
the
that $100 into my parlay on DraftKings and then take 1,100, turn it into 88. I know my numbers, man.
No,
so
you bet Kamzat, and then you didn't even fucking accept the Zelle when I lost the 50 to you in the last bet.
because you sent it to my phone number and on my email, I told you the problem. I don't even think I've claimed that money.
You haven't. It went
Unbelievable.
back to my account.
Unfreaking real. So it looks like you're down to a $50 merch. So you want to get like a hat or something?
No.
If you win.
Because
now we're at $50.
The other
so.
merch on his site
Diaz is
suspect.
not winning.
Nate, what? This is why young Jamie's not allowed to fucking
Young
talk.
Jamie, don't start back there. Right? Don't fucking start, dude.
Fucking casual.
Talking
just,
shit about Nate Diaz
This
like
fucking
that.
casual just has no opinion. Have you
Yeah.
even seen Kamzat fight?
Oh yeah.
When?
He's a beast. I don't know who he fought, but I know he's a stellar grappler.
That's what the hype train tells you. So was Gillespie before he got fucking head kicked.
Man, I'll give it to
National
Kamzat,
champion.
though. He came in and made a statement, didn't he? Came in dinging boys. Wait, he had 3 fights in 5 weeks or something
They
ridiculous?
let him get fucking
2 different weight
boring.
classes.
He went and got married. Now he's boring. He needs to get back on that every other weekend shtick.
Fight 2 people in a night.
He needs to. 2 weekends in a row.
Man, he is a force to be reckoned with. He really is. Man, this is hard as
Will you pull up that Dillashaw card?
Yeah.
Is October 22nd? That's the card I'm waiting on.
What I've noticed is
Do you
fighters
think-
that come from a place in the world that is cold more than it is warm are fucking savages. Have you ever noticed that? Like, they live in the cold. It makes them tougher, I think.
Their skin's tougher.
There's something with that cold that makes them hate life and be good fighters.
That fight card pulled up? There's fucking one card. That's the only card?
That was the only card. That was the only fight on the card.
That's the only fight on the card?
That was it.
Oh, yeah. It's a good ass.
Oh, Islam.
Who you got in that one?
Ooh, God, that is a hard one. I don't know, man. Whew. That's a hard one to call.
Do you believe Islam is as good as Khabib?
The thing is, I don't really know if Khabib was anything, like you said, spectacular. I think he played his cards right. The thing is he's got that style. He's the first one to come out with that style that was unusual to deal with. You know, the same as like Gracie came out with the Jiu Jitsu right in the beginning and thumped boys on it. Once people started getting accustomed to that style and developing, like, oh, there's an ability for these Russian fuckers to come in and smash my ass and not even allow me to move. And I think that now that that's became new techniques that people are accustomed to, they're training for that more. They're getting these guys that can do that. You know, not to say that that's an easy style to replicate. It's not like you can just find a Khabib and train with them. But now that that's been known and the forefront was laid with Khabib doing it, I think that Islam is going to have a lot harder of a time going in and doing to people like Khabib did, you know. But I think Islam's striking's a little better for sure than Khabib's. Khabib never really had that good at striking. He was tough. But there was chances where, you know, he took some risks. You know, he's going in there brawling on a few times and he could have gotten KO'd. You know, but the fact that everybody's so afraid of the takedowns, they don't have to be good strikers. He almost knocked Conor McGregor out.
You've yet to answer my question. Either of them. Do you think Islam is as good as Khabib?
I already answered it. I said I don't think that. Yeah, I think that they're around the same style. I don't know if Khabib's any better. No. Okay. You know, I think.
So who are you picking?
That's still a hard question.
Still has
it doesn't matter. I mean,
Christian, who you picking?
Here's the thing: if you take Islam out of there and you put this fight with Charles against Khabib, I'm still gonna have the same answer if I don't know. It's
my thing is I've picked against Charles. I've picked against Charles 7 fights in a row or whatever the fuck it's been, and been wrong every time. I'm picking Charles. I'm not doing it again.
I'm gonna. Man, he's dangerous though. Charles' submissions. He's just. He is dangerous from any position, and his striking is so clean, and his takedowns. You know, that's a big underestimated part of Charles' game. If you notice, his takedowns are fucking slick. You know, and a lot of people don't even see that. They see him striking. They say his striking's pretty good. Obviously, his grappling's been good, and everybody knows that. People are underestimating these smooth takedowns that he has on people, and he's really good at that. He's just the best, in my opinion, the best overall mixed martial artist in the game right now is Charles Oliveira. You know, and there might not be anybody that's been better overall than him ever.
TJ Dillashaw.
TJ Dillashaw. No, how many submissions have you ever seen him pull out? Like the pedigree of a TJ is more of a wrestler and striker, but weakness is going to be his jiu-jitsu. Charles has no weakness. There is no weakness.
TJ's not been submitted.
Well,
he's got a weak chin.
And he's on roids.
Allegedly.
E-pose, I guess.
That was
blood doping.
That was old. He was
That's
at
old.
125. Never at 135.
Yeah, you just switch weight classes and then you just forget about all the other shit, you know. But
who you got there? Since you don't want to pick Charles or Islam.
Nah, man, that's another dude. This is a good card. This is a very even card.
You know what sucks about that is Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw are my favorite 135-pound fighters.
I'm taking TJ in that one, to be honest. I think TJ's got a lot more.
Aljo only has submissions.
Yeah, Aljamain's really good on the ground.
You were just talking shit about.
But TJ's
shit about TJ's submission game. Not 30 seconds.
I talked about his correct. But can Aljamain take him to the ground? No.
I don't think so.
No, that's what I'm saying. So now TJ doesn't have a good decorated grappling game. However, he doesn't necessarily need to have one if he's a phenomenal wrestler. You know, if he needs to go to the ground, he's good enough to be able to ground and pound. He's clearly shown that. He's got some rear naked chokes. He's got some good submissions. But I don't think, especially going and training at, that was a big thing when I went out to Team Alpha Male and trained that I noticed is those guys are really, really good at wrestling and striking. But their weakness is definitely their grappling. They're not a big grappling school. I know he's obviously not there anymore. But coming from that school and training there for so long, I kind of know how his style, and clearly by seeing it, I think
didn't they have like a real good submission guy that
Chris Holdsworth is one of the really good guys, for sure. And he actually, coincidentally, TJ need him in practice and fucked him up to where he can't even compete anymore.
Allegedly.
I believe that story for sure. I do believe that one. I don't think Uriah's the type. Now, if Cody might be the type with a little bit of hate, talk some shit, but I don't think. Now, on the podcast when they released that information about Chris Holdsworth, that was Uriah and Cody, and Uriah did back everything that was said, and I don't find Uriah to be anybody that's gonna lie about some shit like that. And he just seems, he's just a really competitive dude. I could just see him fucking freaking out and throwing a knee after the round that he lost. Because Chris he's a grappler, man.
There's that video of him kicking that fucking Muay Thai fighter in the face after the bell rang. That one. There's a video of him cheap shotting a Muay Thai fighter.
He's not a good dude, And if you look on paper with TJ and Cody,
was it the EPO that gave that away?
yeah. No, he's just a fucker. He's just I don't know. And here's the thing, too, as I can't really say, because I trained with guys after he had already been kicked out of the school, so obviously everyone's giving all their bad stories about TJ when I'm there, like, TJ's just this,
he didn't get kicked out of school, he left.
Yeah, well, whatever way you want to call it, leaving, getting kicked out, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They had nothing but good things to say at Team Alpha Male when I was out there about TJ. So I'm only getting one side of the story, I'll admit. But at the same time, I don't know. I see the character of the guys that are saying some of these stories and backing these stories. I don't think Uriah would be the type that would just completely lie about that. Now, he could have very well not been there, but they have video too, by the way. They have it on an Alpha Male. They didn't release it. I saw this on the Joe Rogan, the same when they
released the fucking knockout, but they don't fucking release the video of him cheap shot somebody.
They have it though. Well, so word on the street. They have a video of this knee that he was throwing on Chris and messed him up. I don't what happened with that. I know he got knocked out with it, but I don't know why that was so detrimental to his career. Was it a concussion? So it was a edit. Yeah.
So,
and grappling with Chris Holdsworth.
Weird, man.
He's a fucking monster, dude.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's what everyone says.
Dude. And he's such a unassuming dude, but man, there is no, because he was at the jiu-jitsu class, so they didn't have a lot of their pro fighters that would go to their actual jiu-jitsu classes. Mm-hmm. He was one of their guys that was at the actual, because how they run their camp is they'll have their MMA classes all day long. And then at night they'll have their kickboxing, they'll have their jiu-jitsu that's more of like a not fighter, like just pretty much hobbyist type of class. And Chris Holdsworth ran the jiu-jitsu, the gi jiu-jitsu class that I went to, and I grappled with him, and he's good, man. He is good,
When you were there, did you think you could catch him?
I don't think
or is that
there
when
were some.
Or is that when you left? I'm gonna have to go 100% in the business.
No, to be honest, after I left there on the grappling aspect of it, I was really surprised with how I did. There was a lot of their fighters that I was submitting that were UFC fighters and stuff, and just in strict jiu-jitsu, which is obviously way different than throwing punches in there. Their MMA that they have and their jiu-jitsu that they do not do. A lot of their fighters, they're not going to a jiu-jitsu class. They go to classes with gloves on. So they're throwing punches in there, which is a different dynamic. But when you break it down and you don't have punches in there, their actual sound jiu-jitsu at that school was I think their weakness, in my opinion.
Hey, Christian, when is the Sean O'Malley fight? Is that the same card as who's the middleweight champion right now? Getting too late.
Dude, middleweight has always been one that's been so.
No, dude, he's the fucking king. He should be number one pound for pound right now. No, that's not true because he just lost a light heavyweight.
Oh, you're talking about Usman. That's a welterweight.
No, Usman just got fucking.
Well, who the hell's a 185 pound for pound?
He's fighting.
What are you talking about, dude?
He just dog humped the fucking. Who's the 185 pound champion? I should know his name.
I don't have the clue who his name is either. That 185 class has been so unappealing throughout the entire history of UFC. Name one person that's been like, whoa.
You're going to feel real stupid here in about 30 seconds. Keep going. Israel Adesanya.
Adesanya. Yeah. Again,
What?
good striker. What happened when you went up to 205 against Homeboy? Doesn't even have the title anymore. He got fucking smacked. You know. Which I know he's jumping up in weight class. He's bigger.
But you're telling me Adesanya's not a good fucking champion?
Adesanya is a very good striker, and it is a complete... I'm clueless as to why nobody wants to take him down. You don't even see it attempted.
I don't think.
Why is it that he has such a weakness on the ground? I mean, he's a blue belt that just started doing it. Like, he's not a blue belt like Kamzat, who's been wrestling since he was shit out of the womb. You know, he's a jiu-jitsu guy that got into it brand fucking new.
Scroll back down.
No, who's taking him down?
Vittori fucking Brunson, I thought. No, Brunson got KO'd.
Brunson got KO'd. He's very long. He's very good at keeping his range. He's got okay. He's not even a wrestler.
Jan was the only one.
That's the thing. He's not even a wrestler. You know, he in my opinion, Israel Adesanya is Anderson Silva without a black belt in jiu-jitsu. That's who you're dealing with right there. That's who you're looking at. You're looking at Anderson. You're looking at Anderson Silva. Yeah, when he's 40-something years old in a stand-up fight. You take both of them to the ground. What's going to happen?
Israel's gonna stand back up.
It's not gonna go Israel's way. Israel Adesanya, in my opinion, is Anderson Silva without any background pedigree.
Anderson Silva's knees don't even bend.
Anderson Silva is a savage on the ground. He doesn't have to shoot. Why does he have to shoot? He never had an issue. He never had a need to.
How the fuck's he gonna get Israel down? You're just gonna like teleport him? How's that gonna fucking happen?
That fight was obviously you're taking somebody that is 40-something years old against it. You take Anderson Silva back in the day against Israel.
I think I'm taking Israel.
You're hiring a motherfucker. That dude, boy.
I think.
Did everybody just hear that?
Israel Adesanya is not a young buck. He's like 33 years old.
It doesn't matter.
He's got
what his age. You could take him in his
fucking fights.
You take Israel Adesanya in his prime against Anderson Silva in his prime, and there's no competition.
In stand up,
ain't no competition.
I think I'm picking Israel.
Ain't no competition.
I like Patty.
Patty's another one, just like Sean O'Malley, that has got his way in by a haircut. Swear to God.
Are you not a Patty fan?
I don't think he's that good.
You're fucking high.
Prove me wrong.
Right.
What's he done that's been like, whoa, that's super skilled?
He just humped somebody like in Call of Duty. Not even a month ago.
He did do that. He
said he was going to do it, then got up and did
it. Patty is a fighter. I mean, he go in there and throw, but he's going to get caught. He's not.
Caught by who?
By anybody that catches his ass and puts him out.
Go to the top five of that division.
He's too exposed on his striking. He's too big of a brawler. He's Patty Pimblett is not very good.
Sorry. He's lightweight. Scroll down. Oh, where's the fucking Charles?
He's fun to watch, and I like hearing his accent.
Do you think Patty beats Dustin?
Poirier?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Not even a chance. Not even a fucking chance.
Gagey?
Not even a chance.
Islam?
Not a chance.
Chandler?
Not a chance.
Bernal Dariush?
Now we're getting a little closer to chance. Still not a chance.
RDA?
Now we're talking. You get the number 6 on RDA, and he might have a chance of beating him. In top 5.
So we're upset because Patty's top 5?
Tony Ferguson could... He might be able to beat Tony Ferguson now that I've seen the fuckery of Tony Ferguson's been shot through, But
I think
Patty is in the game because of his hair. If he had a shaved head, no one would know who the fuck that dude was. The same with Sean O'Malley. He's going in there looking like who did he look like? He looks like that one. Who's that one kid? Chase Hopper, I think is his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Ben Askren's son.
That's funny. No, but in all seriousness, they both got that hair, and that's kind of what patented Sean O'Malley. But Sean was knocking motherfuckers out, though. I mean, he's fast. But here's the thing: who's Patty in here dominating like that? I haven't seen Patty go in and really dominate somebody.
He's fucking got 2 stoppages. He's at 2 fights, 2
that
stoppages.
He almost lost both of. He was very close to getting knocked out in both of those fights. Facts.
In the second
if you look
fight,
at them both, even if you hear what's his name, Bisping, he's like, oh, you almost got knocked out there, didn't you, buddy? When he gave him the mic, did you hear that on the first fight that Patty had?
That was the first fight. The second fight, he didn't almost get knocked out.
The second fight, you're right. I can't call him the second, but it wasn't like he just went in there and thumped. Like
we go to scroll.
I don't know, man.
Do you think Kamar stops Leon. And then
100%. 100%. That's gonna be the fastest rematch. That's gonna be faster than the Nunez Perez, whatever the fuck her name is. You know.
Are they doing a third fight?
They're not. No, they already did it.
Yeah. Are they doing a third fight?
That was their third.
No, that was third championship fight.
No, I think it was their third fight. I think they fought before, didn't they? Didn't Nunez beat her
I
already?
don't think so. I think she
Maybe
was
you're.
calling her
No,
out.
she was calling her
got
out and she
one.
didn't. You're right. There was only one. Yeah, they're 1-1. They're gonna get another, but maybe. But Nunez is gonna thump her. She clearly wasn't prepared for that fight. The same thing here with Usman. Hail Mary shot. He ain't got a chance to beat him.
I need Bryce Mitchell to get a fight next. Because
I like Bryce Mitchell.
I want
You know, Bryce Mitchell is the American version of Paddy Pimblett. You know, he's that dude.
That's exactly
He
what
is
he
that
is.
dude, isn't he? But he's got a slick ass ground game, man. You know,
But Patty doesn't.
Paddy's ground game is actually better than his striking, for sure. He's a grappler. If you look at any of his King of the Cage fights,
I
you
think-
see there's a lot of submissions. Like
Hot
look up
take-
Paddy Pimblett's record
hot
on
take for you, I think Patty
Tapology real
Pimblett
quick.
Submits Justin Gaethje because Justin Gaethje has weak ass jiu-jitsu. Choked out twice.
Paddy Pimblett's not taking Justin Gaethje down.
Patty Pimblett fucking pulls guard, and he's dropping people.
Dude, no, he's
Look
not
at
beating
that.
Justin
Look
Gaethje.
at that haircut.
Exactly.
Look at that. Fucking
Exactly why he's there. That's all it takes, man. If you want to get into the UFC, grow your fucking hair out.
No, he's fucking there because he's two different weight class Cage Warrior champion like Connor.
Apples and oranges, comparing those two, just because they've got accents. Their accents aren't even the same.
Super racist of me.
It's not racist against your own people. You know, they're white
Fucking
too.
Irish.
Well, you might be due to ancestry. I got a little bit of Irish in me.
I am half Irish.
There you go.
My dad's side, but no, this.
I was disappointed with my ancestry.
Did you do it?
I did, and that has a little bus that shoots you over to like West Virginia, and then it takes a boat, and every single one of my motherfucking ancestors was from Europe. Nobody got carried away, and just nobody was curious. It's just all white, pure fucking boring ass bloodline. That's what I got. All white people,
I'm not surprised.
straight from the northern islands of Caucasus. He said, "I'm not surprised." Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not either. Just looking for a little flavor in there. Fucking disappointing.
What'd you want? Egyptian in you? Like,
I don't know,
what are we
man.
talking
Something,
about?
but I guess my dance moves clearly prove all my ancestors came right from Europe.
No rhythm.
None at all.
All right.